You guys are going to take 2 trips up the Upper-Majigger.
Yep.
Edmont is the van.
Into the remnants of the speculative anatomy wing, which I have a map for.
We have a dungeon. We're not just gonna leave. We have to leave through.
Okay, so you guys are coming up the Upper-Majigger here.
I didn't see where you hanged. Did you do that again, please? Or... Oh, okay.
There should be only one spot on the map that you can see.
Yeah, yeah. Do we have to size down?
Yes, you will. These are 5-foot squares.
Degulate.
The Upper-Majigger actually cannot climb the top of the shaft. Some kind of damage has caused it to wedge into place. And once you ride it up, you feel the whole thing list forward by a few degrees. You hear the sound of metal scraping against metal. And the door tries to open and can't. So you have like a 1-inch gap that you can see out, kind of like up above your neck level. And after a few minutes of work, you can pry the rest of the door open and squeeze through into the room beyond. But it's clear you won't be able to get the Upper-Majigger to go back down. It's not a down-a-Majigger in any case.
We'll probably need a token for the gurney, or for the sledge.
Down is just up if you're upside down.
There's a white one.
Terraria.
There's a red one. And hopefully you can see both of these.
Now we can, yeah.
Scale those down a little bit. So you can squeeze the bodies through the opening, and then the sledges are designed to fold. So you can fold them and then pass them through to each other. So you don't have to leave anything behind. It becomes apparent that's a one-way trip. Squeezing back into the Upper-Majigger, you're not going to be able to ride it back down to the lab.
What's the light like up here?
Dim orange glow. Same as it was down in the lab. You hear that same faint buzzing. Echoing all directions around you, though. You can hear the sounds of people. Off to your left, you see some stairs heading down into a larger room, which I guess I'll give you some of here. So the hallway you're in looks similar to the hallways you were climbing through to get through the speculative anatomy wing where you were asked to go into that little waiting area. However, the place has been badly damaged. Parts of the walls have crumbled forward, and it seems like the whole area is built into or around a cave system underneath the university. And the two areas have merged together as a result of the quake. Off to your right, up here, you hear the sound of rushing water battering against rock and wall, and you see the spray of it sloshing up through the narrow hallway. Off to your left, you see some stairs leading down into what looks like was a larger room that has now been partially demolished by the quake. That's the direction you hear the voices from.
So Ekon's going to go ahead and cast light on Orson's spear.
Okay.
He's going to take out a continual flame diamond and place it on his head.
So Orson and Ekon have bright light sources.
Is Edmont still a wolf?
Yep.
He will be, but he doesn't know how long he was out. He doesn't know how much of his hour he has left.
Victor's gonna go check to see what the water.
Victor, taking a few steps up to the north here. Well, presumably it's north. There's a sharp turn around the side. At one point, this was a hallway leading through the speculative anatomy wing. Now, however, it looks like water is draining very, very quickly, flowing underneath cracks and holes here very expediently. You imagine that the earthquake has shifted the water table underneath the university. The water is moving so fast, and it's badly opaque. It's extremely dirty water with oil or runoff or who knows what from other damaged parts of the university. It looks very treacherous, and you can't tell how deep it is.
Let's not go that way, guys. Shall we go check out the scares?
Yeah.
Genie, it has to be as far away from Edmont as possible. Genie, please roll me a d6.
Sure.
Actually,
3.
the werewolf thing probably, because none of these are absolutely permanent. 3 is the best number you could have possibly rolled.
Sure.
I thought about hand picking this and forcing you to fail the horror check in that scene. If I had done that, this is what I would have picked.
Oh, nice.
3 is obsession. The horrifying experience plays itself in the character's mind over and over again. By day, she continually talks about the event. By night, she mutters still more and cannot sleep. If her lids close, it's only for a few moments at a time, not enough to provide rest or heal a point of damage. Each sleepless night, it goes into mechanics after that, but basically you cannot take a long rest. You are obsessed with this. You need magical assistance to fall asleep.
So because we have no ability to do that, I just die?
Well, you'll be out of this dungeon and can seek remedy for it. But you can't get the thought out of your mind of what you witnessed in that lab and what Evie has done.
Yeah, Evie murdered me.
And what really sticks with you is that moment where you tried to reach down to your belt and pull out your turret. And instead of moving your own arm, you moved your own arm. Over and over again. An obsessed character can attempt a saving throw versus paralysis once per week to shake the obsession. So, this is 2nd edition, of course. But if you don't receive magical sleep, you can naturally make a saving throw once per week. So you can't actually die of exhaustion as long as you pass the saving throw. But for the duration of this dungeon, you can't get the idea out of your head, and it's all that you can picture and all you can talk about.
Gotcha.
Genie, I'm so sorry.
Genie doesn't even look at you.
Victor's carrying the sledge, or I should say pulling the sledge with Victor's corpse, and Orson's pulling the one with Genie's corpse. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Edmont.
Yeah, what's down here?
Looking down into this room. A very, very large room, and the doorway you're looking through would have once been probably the end of a hallway. The doorway has been rent apart. You can see rock faces pushing through the walls and the cracks here. It looks like this might have been like a large auditorium at one point. Like a large lecture hall. Half of it is now dominated by the cave structures. Rocks are poking up through the ground to the ceiling, intruding along one end. And there is a small mass of a dozen or so people here where the number 20 is. I'll go ahead and I'll just put one yellow marker to represent them. Maybe a dozen or so people lingering around. Presumably students of the speculative anatomy branch of the university at Ludendorff. Some number of them are clearly dead from the earthquake. Some number of them are still alive. Some are trying to help the wounded. It looks like it's chaos in this room. But this is the source of the murmuring and voices that you heard before. Then you can see that the lecture hall continues away to the back, and it starts sloping down and away from you as it does so.
Move over here.
Coming over in this direction of the lecture hall, you can see that, surprisingly, there are still several intact seats, and the podium itself at the front on a raised dais looks untouched from the damage.
What's up there?
Because I'm still a werewolf, so I'm not trying to rock the boat there.
Okay.
It's okay.
I mean, Ekon's just gonna walk through the place. like he owns the place. Like we're leaving.
Victor, are you still pulling Victra's body?
Absolutely.
At the sight of that, you see several of the students jump up. One of them points at Victor, and in Lemordian calls out, "They've killed Professor Mordenheim!"
I mean, she doesn't have like. I think all the damage she took, minus the head wound, was from psychic knives.
The psychic damage still kills you.
I know that, but she's like not.
She's not breathing, she's not moving, and her head is badly bloody.
Yeah, but there's no visible like stab wounds or anything on her.
No. And
That's the important part.
The students, the half a dozen or so that are here, leap up. Some of them you can see have sustained injuries and don't get to their feet, but others pointing in shock and horror. They've killed Professor Mordenheim.
Victor does Victor understand what they're saying?
If he knows Lemordian, he does. They do.
No, he doesn't.
Okay, then.
So Victor starts yelling, "Help! Help! She's been hurt!"
You do understand the word Mordenheim, and like you get the gist of it, probably.
So Victor starts yelling out, "Help! Help! She's hurt!"
Ekon is going to say, "Out of our way, we're leaving in Lemordian."
In Lemordian? And
Yep.
the students part aside, watching in shock and anger. And you continue down through the hall?
Yep.
As the werewolf loops through them.
You walk down this steep slope, coming up on what looks like a U-turn. At this point, you're leaving the hallway. It looks like you're entering a backroom area affixed to the lecture hall. And then as you reach the bottom of the slope, it's going into what looks like a natural cave formation. And it U-turns around this bend. Is Edmont going first?
Yep.
Edmont, make a dexterity saving throw.
Yay!
Did all three of your physical stats go up in werewolf form, or did you have one that was higher?
No, dexterity, which was equal.
Okay. So you're just looking for a way to permanently be a werewolf, then?
I mean, that's a 10.
A 10?
Yep.
You hear a cry as you come around the side of this bend, and you start to take a step back. Something crashes into you and knocks you prone against the wall in this square just as you come around the bend. Looking up from here, as the slope starts steeping upwards away from you, the thing that crashed into you was a body of a badly bitten and screaming young man. And as he crashes into you and falls on top of you, his cries turn to gurgles as the blood wells up in his throat. And then he just slumps dead. The thing that has bitten him is a tiny little bugger, but it has wicked sharp teeth. Maybe the size of a house cat. And alarmingly, as you set eyes on it, it looks like it's a human arm that ends at the shoulder, but affixed to the edge of the shoulder are beady little eyes and rows of razor-sharp teeth. And you realize there are several more of these creatures. Flopping up behind the first one on the slope. They all look very, very hungry. Let's roll some initiative here.
Hi. I think I'm gonna... Yeah. That's exciting.
Oh, this whole dungeon's exciting. We started with the least exciting part of the dungeon. Do you believe that?
Yeah, I believe that.
I don't know why, because I'm totally lying.
The gang made it into a character moment.
Yeah, that scene's been on my docket for months and months and months.
Was it everything you wanted it to be?
I was hoping you'd kill the other one. Who's at the top of my order?
Got Evie with Victor on deck.
So Evie, you're here in the middle of the pack. Victor is, you're kind of watching the dead professor being pulled down the slope in front of you. You hear the cry and the gurgling, and you see Edmont's form slump against the ground as something lands on top of him. That's what you got.
10, 15, 20, 25. So now I can see the creature here.
Yes, you see 6 of them. Human arms with razor-sharp fangs on their shoulders.
I can only see 2, just FYI.
Oh, there should be 6 of them.
Okay, now I can see them all.
Sorry about that.
All right. Does this terrain look like if I cast Erupting Earth, it's going to collapse?
Probably not, because you're in part of a natural cave at this point. This whole little turnaround area.
Trying to count spaces here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 4 spaces?
Yes. Going
All
up
right.
that slope.
This is exactly what this spell is for.
What? Little munchy arms?
That's what they're called, munchie arms. How did you know?
I need all of them to make a DC 16 dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
Just a lucky guess.
Boy, Evie, that's sure a high number on your save DC.
I know.
I have 1 pass, 5 fails.
Whatever one's at the farthest back, I rolled like shit on the damage. They take 13 points of damage if they failed, and half of that if they passed.
All 6 of them are dead.
Good job.
The earth erupts underneath them, crushing them, throwing them aside, and as they hit the walls and floors, their vicious little mouths stop snapping. Looks like they've overwhelmed this one poor bastard on top of Edmont, but clearly they are no match for the likes of you.
And cousin. You know what's up?
Were those arms? Those were arms.
Yes.
Human arms, except instead of a shoulder, they had a row of vicious, razor-sharp teeth and beady little eyes.
I just go over here and kick Bordenheim's corpse a couple times.
Okay. Do you feel better now?
No.
It's the cragged expanse after that point.
Yeah, this is difficult terrain now, but as long as we're not in initiative, I don't think that matters very much.
Okay. Heading up this direction. Bear with me just 1 second.
Looks like a bunch of little alcoves.
Yeah, you see alcoves off to the sides. Somebody give me a history check, please.
I can do it.
Can you
I
My
can do
his-
it as well.
9 times?
I get
well,
a-
my history is +8.
Mine's only
I
plus
got
4.
5.
So is someone else
That
doing it, or
is-
am I doing it? Okay.
Sounds
That's a
like it.
19.
Edmont?
Yeah, I got it. It's a 19.
Looking at the alcoves to either side, they remind you of like old crypts and things you used to find in dungeon delving excursions back in the old world. But these have been emptied years and years and years ago, and it dawns on you that at some point in the university's past, these old crypts must have been emptied out so that the professors had something to perform their experiments on.
I'm going to not point that out to the others.
Okay. Well, Evie knows it too because she has a high history.
Oh, well, I didn't roll anything.
Okay.
I'm not going to make noise. I'm not going to make noise about it because there's a lot going on already, especially with like Genie hanging out there like miles behind everyone else.
Victor would have only had a 10 on the history.
The pathway, the cave at this point no longer really resembles crypts. Edmont just knew what exactly to look for. It starts sloping back up fairly steeply, and as you get to the top of the slope up here, you can't make out the words, but you hear a familiar voice, loud and echoing, in the chamber above you, on the other side of this partially dilapidated door. It sounds to you like Rudolph van Richten on the other side of the door, barking orders in Lamordian.
Edmont charges toward the door.
Okay.
Victor makes a comment that better not be Van
Shoulders
Richten.
through it.
Well, yeah, the door is. It's only one of the hinges is broken in the quake.
Yeah, he's going to shoulder through this door into this room.
The room beyond is brightly lit, so I will give you the whole room if you don't mind.
I do not mind in the least.
It looks like a large commons area for this particular wing of the university. Not quite as nicely decorated as the lounge that you guys had visited on your first day of the visit at the university, but a large common area for students to make use of during their studies. All of the furniture and things is in complete disarray, and you see that the room is bisected by what it can only be described as a rushing river at this point, as centuries of sludge and oil and runoff and filthy water have been rent asunder and are ripping through the middle of it. You do see Rudolph van Richten. Put him in black here. On this side of the river, barking orders at a couple of students in front of him who are rescuing people from out of the water. It looks like Van Richten is very badly wounded. You can see brown bandages soaking up blood on one of his legs, and he's leaning heavily on his cane, which is not something he's liked to do most of the time. But it looks like he's directing the rescue efforts for some of these people in the water.
Edmont sees people starting to struggle, and he's going to slip into it and just start pulling people out of the water.
And
Victor
Van
goes to
Richten
Van
looks
Richten.
surprised when he sees you all enter, but very quickly into the swing of thing, points at you guys and starts directing you to the river to help.
Did you know? That's all Victor says to him.
So you guys all enter the room. Do you bring Victor's body with you?
Yes.
He sees the body, and you see it's just a sour look on his face.
Did you know?
He tells you that he couldn't have suspected something like this. And starts directing
believe him?
Victor to help rescue people out of the water.
Do I believe him?
That's up to you.
Victor will give him a shove towards the water and again ask, did you know?
You're shoving Van Richten?
Yeah. Not into the water yet, but
Victor, not now.
So is it Victor's inclination to stop the rescue so he can bully on Van Richten?
not to stop the rescue.
If you put
but-
hands on him, we're rolling initiative. That's what I'm saying. And I do have his stat block.
Evie puts his hand on Victor's shoulder, says, "Not now."
Victor will glare at Evie and walk away.
We need help here. We'll talk later. And he turns as he's continuing to direct the students he has. You guys see bodies washing up through the river. The water is seeping through the wall over here. Unbelievably dirty and much deeper than you would expect. And most of the people coming through are just bodies, bobbing to the surface and pulling them out. Students or other, well, not all of them are students. Some of them could only be described as prisoners of the university. However, a few of them are still alive, but just badly injured. Is everyone helping the rescue mission as best they can?
Victor is comforting Genie.
So is that a no?
Yeah, Genie's not. She's slumped in the corner next to her own dead body, and she's just staring at it.
And the other four of you are assisting with the rescue?
Ekon will be doing medical aid on the wounded that they pull out.
Okay. Are you expending resources, or are we just doing like medicine checks? Like stabilization?
I'll burn a spell or two. Say two magical heal. Please aid. Now, you know what? If I do an aid, I can get 3 people. So let's do 2 aids for 6 people.
Okay. Because, I mean, the triage of this situation is not good. Like, some of these people are going to be right on the edge, and but you managed to save some people who probably would have died if not for your intervention. Where do you have Victor's corpse?
Oh, it's back here with Genie.
After 10 minutes or so, it becomes clear that what's coming through on the river now are just body parts. It looks like all the people that have been rescued are all the people that are going to be rescued. So counting the people in this room and the few that you saw in the previous chamber, maybe 30 or so students, depending on who else is left in the compound.
How far down are we, One Richard?
Considerable distance. I mean, you guys recall coming down a fair ways to...
I was unconscious for a lot of it.
That's true. He explains that his contingency, in case a lot of you are put into danger, and he's saying this very hushed-hush in a place where the other students who are now tending to their own cannot overhear. But he cops to causing the earthquake using a magical scroll.
When it became clear that we were okay. So that was your doing.
He was not intending to be separated from you or to be led away, and he knew that things were going very badly when that happened. So as soon as he had a moment, he had a contingency squirreled away.
Thanks for your help. It, I think, saved most of us from getting dissolved.
Well, if I help you 6... He looks at the other dead bodies in the room. The cost was high enough, and you can just tell this is a man. This is not the first such situation he's been in his life.
Suffice to say...
Can we... No.
Oh, go ahead.
Can we trust the rest of the students? Because so far, both the professor and some of her creations have all attacked us.
At that, he moves his hand aside, and you see this terrible wound that he's taken to his upper leg and the right side of his torso. So I wouldn't trust any of them. But that doesn't mean I can leave him to die.
I'm talking in Darkanese here.
He is too. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
It's at this moment that Van Richten sees out of the corner of his eye the 2 corpses you have on sledges. Is that Mordenheim?
Yeah.
Or
We shouldn't bring her with us. Leave her here to be discovered in the rubble somewhere. And he starts moving in that direction, limping on his cane.
I'll get Victor. Toss the body in the water.
In the
I'd
water.
rather you burn it.
Nothing's
risk
coming
it.
back out of that. I don't know if you've gotten a look at the body parts that are coming through on this side. Nothing's coming back if you throw it in there.
I don't want to risk this thing coming back to life. Can you just burn it?
Van Richten suggests leaving it for some of the students to discover. Better for them to think that she died in the collapse.
We don't want to be pinned for her murder. So she has no physical injuries except the head injury, so it won't look like she's been murdered. It'll look like she died in the earthquake.
Yeah.
I can
Toss her in one of the
doctor-
catacombs.
So,
Fine.
one of the crypts down here?
Well, actually, is there like any? Is it easy to like wedge her under a stone or something? Make it look like a rock fell on her?
In this room?
Yeah.
You probably could, but remember, there's like a dozen or so injured students in here watching your every move.
Okay.
There are
yeah,
witnesses.
right here.
Well, potential witnesses. They're actually not paying that much attention to you.
So, Victor's gonna try and find a rubbled spot where it can make it look like she got crushed.
Yeah, fair enough. Go ahead and make a call it dexterity deception, because you're trying to build a scene here.
I'm gonna need a sonic dice for that.
Okay.
Guess I don't get a guidance.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah.
Because
Oh, well, I'll go with you because I was the one that's telling you to do it. So yeah, go ahead and take guidance.
these rolls suck. That's an 11.
11. Okay. I mean, you build the seed as best you can, but like if you leave her here, she won't be discovered right away. The idea is she's going to be discovered after you guys are clear away, and then hopefully they'll think that she died in the fall.
Hopefully.
Coming back into the room, Van Richten addresses the other corpse. He looks at Genie for a moment. So I take it you found your answers then.
Genie doesn't say anything.
And what concerns me is how the two were swapped. How and when?
I think I know.
Were they swapped? I assumed they grew some sort of thing out of her blood.
Do you remember the day where we crossed the bridge and we all passed out in the mist? That's the only time it could have happened.
It's a long time ago. I feel like Genie. The first time I noticed that she didn't have blood was when we were fighting the Dryad.
No, not the Dryad. The red vines.
Right, before the Dryad, yeah. Like they're the same place, right?
The
oldest is vines.
The oldest is
Okay.
Vines. Yeah.
It was the second adventure we did in that chapter, I think.
So, is Genie Genie?
Yes, Genie is obviously Genie.
I mean, is she? Victor tries to think back to see if her behavior's been.
And Ekon just kind of gives you a look like, yes, she is Genie. We are not debating this point.
That monster did this to my sister.
The monster is dead.
Says the person who killed her.
Did I? I didn't kill
No,
her.
I killed her. I killed Genie. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
Genie was a monster?
No. The Mordenheim did this to Genie, but Evie's the one who killed her.
Yeah, but Mordenheim was a monster.
Yeah.
Should we go ahead
Who's
and you can
first?
handle the students, or
Van Richten doesn't know whether there's still an accessible exit in this direction. He hasn't had time to check.
well, there's definitely not one in the other direction unless you can breathe water. I think. Did we explore down here? Or was this a dead end?
No, we
You
didn't.
guys explored as far as this way goes.
Yeah.
That
Okay,
was the
so we
only
missed
other...
a passage. Okay.
But you haven't missed any passages.
Oh, okay. So
Look-
this is a dead
look-
end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It
Yeah,
looks
then unless
like
you can
there's a
breathe
passage
water.
across.
So in either direction, you're going to have to find a way across the water. It's not... I mean, the benefit in this room is you've got, what, a 15-foot crossing? In the other room, you were turning a corner over here and going against the flow of the water.
So, Victor, is the sledge that Victor was carrying Mordenheim on large enough to make a bridge to this rock?
No, it wouldn't be enough to bridge a 5-foot space.
I reach into the bag of
light.
holding, say rope, hand one half to Edmont, and fly across.
Yep, because you have flying boots of flying.
Yep.
Suddenly Alexander's back in the party.
So you have fixed the rope on either side. You have a method now to cross.
Yeah, is there anything, are these large enough, these bits of debris, that I think I can support a person on the rope?
Yeah, there's plenty of debris around. There's no shortage.
Okay.
Easily enough. And there is a door at the far end of the hall that looks like it remains intact.
We figure out some way to get Genie's corpse across.
I roped to it, it'll float across, probably.
Well, you can't float anything because the rush of the water is exiting out here. If you put anything in the
Oh.
water, it's going to be taken by the current. You assume that this would go out to sea somewhere. And the water itself is gnarly looking.
Water's flowing from here to here, right?
Nope, other way.
Other way?
It's going
Reaches
out here.
over, picks up the tell Evie to release the straps.
Straps, what?
The straps that are holding her to the gurney.
Talking about the body here.
Yeah, Genie. Or I thought this was Genie's body.
That's Rickton.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. 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 I'll put the body over my shoulders, and I'm assuming dim light all around.
This room is lit with bright light.
Oh, bright light. Never mind then.
Enough of the fixtures in here. I mean, there's still shadows to warp to on the other side if that's your intention.
And she
That is
walk
absolutely-
on water.
Also that, yeah. I have class features that can do this.
Monk bullshit, yeah. So Van Richten gives you a rendezvous point somewhere north outside of town. He says he's going to find his own way out of the university.
Old man, are you good to do it yourself? You don't look so hot.
He acknowledges the wound that he's taking. He says, I've been in tougher scrapes than this.
Well, I don't doubt that, but
What's your passive insight, Evie?
pretty high. Let me look. 20, I think.
I was thinking it was also pretty. Is it 20 or is it like 20 or?
Yeah, it's 20.
He tells you this in a kind of I'll just slow you down sort of way, but there's definitely something he's not telling you here.
Doctor, is there something here you still need to do?
He shakes his head. He says, I'm going to take a look and see if I can find Brahms. I haven't seen him since we were separated. Wasn't my intention to harm him. Probably the only man in this accursed place worth saving.
What happened to him after we separated? He was the one who put us in that room.
He tells you he doesn't know. He made an excuse to separate himself from Brahms, and he went off to read this scroll. After that, he got into some scrapes with a couple of students and took this wound. And then he made his way down here towards the rush of water.
Okay, so that's what he wants to go do. Are you going to be okay?
And he just reiterates he's been in tougher scrapes than this. So
Uh,
I'll tell
Van
you
Richten-
sometime how I escaped from Castle Ravenloft.
Oh, I'm sure that's a riveting tale.
Using a charge of the earring, Van Richten can, if he would like, Genie will use level 3 cure wounds on him.
Okay.
That is 20 points of healing. She doesn't say anything. She just walks to the edge of the...
And he offers his gratitude, and he tests out his weight on the foot. You can tell that it's still sore. It's very good. Thank you. I'll wait there for 2 days. After that, I'm taking my leave.
I don't think it'll take us that long.
Godspeed.
Likewise.
What's the rules on long jumps?
You can
Your
jump.
strength score with a run.
That's exactly it. If you've got a 10-foot run up, you can jump a number of feet equal to your strength score.
Yeah, nope.
Maybe
Just
you
use
could
rope.
jump with this for
I'll
us
come
and
back and
then...
grab it. We have a rope,
Okay.
right? Am I wrong on that? Did I miss the point where?
No, we have a rope.
I have a rope. Yeah, I guess cross. The rope.
Crossing with the rope is not trivial, but it doesn't require a check.
Before they part ways, Evie looks at Van Richten and says, Doctor, did I do the right thing?
He puts his hand on your shoulder. Says, everyone's alive. That means it was the right thing. Go.
Good luck, Doctor.
Ekon, approaching this door, it looks like it's intact, but you know from experience that the looks of this door are deceiving, and that the inside of it must contain a heavy iron plate that cannot be kicked through.
Okay.
Can it be a
I
lock
have a
pick?
mechanical release or something.
Oh yeah, you can open the door. It's got a handle.
Can I just mage hand it then from like back here?
Absolutely.
Oh, that reminds me. While you're doing that, Evie goes over here, puts 2 fingers way down her throat, and tries to hork up that lockpick and the ring that she swallowed earlier.
Yeah, you get those out. You get those out.
She's like, that was my backup plan, but it ended up not being necessary. But I did have a backup plan.
Inside is a small hallway, 15 foot long, with another door at the opposite end. This one has a brace of wood on your side of the hallway, keeping it closed from the other direction. So you'd have to remove that in order to open this door.
Why don't we take a step back before we do that?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull that brace off.
Okay, and you do. And you see that when you do, the door swings inward by a couple of inches. Whatever closing mechanism it had is damaged, and it cannot be latched from either side.
Pull it open.
Okay. Inside this room, you see a bloodbath. Along the north and south edges of the room are alcoves with bedding in them. Not comfortable, I'm going to lay down for a nap bedding. These are strap him down, doctor, while I get the scalpel bedding. Experimentation tables. The bloodbath comes from the center of the room where you see students that have been badly attacked. Not damaged by falling debris or by falling in the quake. They were attacked by something. Bites taken out of them. Limbs torn out of sockets. Blood trailing against the floor. One blood trail in specific leads... blood is red, right, usually?
Oh, yeah.
Human blood.
You have it.
Unless
Victor,
you're
why are you
playing-
always running out ahead before Brickford finishes the descriptions?
I was waiting for him to say there was no creature in there before I move forward.
I didn't say there was no creature in here, did I?
Yeah!
The one blood trail in specific, you see a smear leading from one of the beds, off around the corner, through an open doorway, into the room beyond. The light in that room is continually flickering. It's that same dim orange light in here, but in that room you can't get a good sense of what's in there. This room, you're like inching your way along the bodies if you enter it. To your right, there is another door leading south.
Edmont, you want to go kill it?
Kill what?
Victor points to the blood trail.
What the injuries look to be for something much bigger than the arminations, I guess is what we're going to call those.
You're going to have to close in towards the center of the room if you want to make that determination. You're still back towards the entryway.
You're a big wolf. Let's go kill it.
Hang on. Is he still a werewolf? Do
Yes.
werewolves have like sense of smell or anything like that?
Nothing that I have on my character sheet.
Okay. Seems like something they would have.
I think they do actually. Keen hearing and smell. Did I not give that to you?
Not that I saw.
Will you forgive me for a moment? Because, yeah, you're supposed... If the Loop Guru have that, you're supposed to have it. You know what probably happens is usually when I copy down monster stat logs for my own use, I don't put that kind of stuff down because it's never useful.
Relevant.
It's never relevant. This is the wrong
Okay.
book. You know what? I'm just going to say you have it right now because either you do have it and I should have given it to you weeks ago and now that was my fault, or you don't have it, but I don't feel like looking it up. So if you want to make a perception check at advantage to use your smell or hearing in this room.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and do that.
See if I can get some more information. That's pretty good. That's a 21.
Entering the room. This might be a new sensation for you, but you smell it before you hear it or see it. You smell something absolutely foul and wretched. A type of animal you've never smelled before in your life. Although, being a human for most of your life, how would you know? But yes, there is something laying dormant that has moved many of the bodies and body parts of these students to the center of the room between these two central pillars. And it seems to be laying in wait.
Mont alerts to it like he would a dog and starts growling.
Start growling?
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll point there and he say, there.
You want to avoid it or take it out? I don't want to get attacked in the back.
Take it out.
We can't go past it without killing it.
Take it out.
All right.
Can we get a surprise attack by chance?
You're not surprised by it, which was the danger here.
Can we surprise it?
No, because it knew you were
Probably
coming.
not at this
It
point.
already knows we're here.
The whole point of laying in wait when you guys opened up the door, it knew to lay down and wait for you. But you managed to not be surprised because Edmont is still one of the Loop Garou.
Edmund, I got a 19. Which do you want to go before me or me before you?
Whichever you prefer.
You can go first.
Okay.
All right, who's
I'll
going
go on
first?
18.
Victor.
Oh, we
Victor,
did
then
well on
Orson.
initiative.
So Victor, you know where the thing is, but you don't know the exact nature of what it is. All you know that it's hiding around the side of that pillar, beneath a pile of dragged bodies.
So, in Victor's experience,
Mhm.
doesn't really matter what the nature is. It's probably going to attack us and be dangerous and try to poison us and eat EV and all these fun things. So
Possible.
we're
They
gonna
also said if they get Evie.
try and attack it with a sounding dagger anyway. All right, so we can't actually see it because it's hiding under bodies, which means I probably can't fairy fire it.
You could cast Fairy Fire in the area.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
It's going to be our bonus action. Fairy fire is an action, isn't it?
But because you
Yeah.
can't see it, you're making attack rolls at disadvantage. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, so we're going to fairy fire the area.
Okay. So that's a dex save. That's going to be a 19 on the dex save.
Bummer.
Moving or staying put?
We are going to... yeah. So we are going to move back.
It's always the worst feeling in the world when you cast Fairy Fire and it misses. Every time that happens to me, I quit playing D&D forever.
I know.
Okay, we've got Orson with Edmont on deck.
Orson's going to push the sledge with Genie's dead body on it to the side here. Basically in a corner. And he's going to step forward like this. And then he's going to dodge.
Okay. Who's next?
After Orson, we've got Edmont with Evie on deck.
Bring an attack
All right.
with a claw. Am I doing it at disadvantage? Because
First attack is at disadvantage. If that attack lands, you'll be able to see it because you will have struck it once.
Yep. All right.
Like the first attack is you just kind of slashing into the pile of bodies, I guess.
Yeah. That's a 9. No. 14 to hit.
14 will not hit.
Again.
Okay.
Nat 1.
Nat 1. So you succeed in dragging a couple of the bodies out.
Key point to dodge.
One of the bodies looks more disfigured than the others. It's a human being, but two of its limbs are backwards. Its back limbs jutting out from its waistline. They look more like the limbs of a dog, and you realize to your horror that this creature is a quadruped. And as that's dawning on you, the thing turns and shows you its slavering human face with dog-like teeth and eyes.
Ugh.
And this is the thing that was laying in wait.
Yep.
You're dodging there? Who's next?
Next up, we've got Evie with Yellow Token on deck.
Evie, you can
Okay,
see
so-
the thing now because Edmont has pulled several of these bodies aside.
All right, I hate it. I'm going to kill it.
He's just a hungry boy.
How's a 23?
That does it.
All right, Edmund is adjacent. I get to do sneak attack, so
Yep.
everything's great. Evie's just gonna stab the trauma away.
You're going to tell it you're sorry as you kill it.
19 points of magical piercing damage
Okay.
to the horrible monster dog thing.
Mostly human. A twisted specimen. Are you moving or staying put?
I will move back here and I will confer advantage on Victor's next attack against the creature.
All right.
Wait, did I hear you were attacking Edmont, the horrible monster dog thing?
No. Edmund's a good boy.
Who's next?
Next we got yellow token with Genie on deck.
The difference between Edmont and this yellow token is that the yellow token doesn't have any fur. There's a head of human hair and a patch under its arms, and it's anyway.
So it's a Siamese cat.
It's pretty awful. It's also going to. It opens its mouth, and for a moment, Edmont, you think it's about to lunge forward and bite, but it doesn't. It lets out this ear-splitting howl that sounds unearthly coming from what once must have been human vocal cords. Can I please have everybody make a wisdom saving throw, DC 13?
Well,
Ekon passes.
Okay.
Evie passes.
Fails.
Victor rolled a 2.
wisdom. Genie fails. Orson passes.
So I've got Genie,
Sorry,
Genie, Victor, and Edmont failed? Is that
Seems to
correct?
be the case.
sorry, I already used my reroll. I can't give it to anyone.
So the three of you are frightened of this creature. While you are frightened, your speed is halved and you are incapacitated.
Ugh.
Gross. No longer dodging then.
The good news is at the sound of its howl, measuring this out, 45, 45. The creature's two pack mates come loping in from the adjoining room, the room where the blood trail is
That's
leading
good
to.
news.
And their movements, you have to imagine like a human would walk around like a dog, except its back legs, where a human, its knees would be pointed in the appropriate direction, making the gait look bizarre and comical. The knees are bent the opposite direction, the way a quadruped's would be. So the gait looks natural, which is even more unnerving. The two of them used all their movement to get into this position. This one is going to... Victor and Genie both failed that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, this one's also going to howl. So let's go ahead and... Anybody who's not already frightened, please make another saving throw. Wisdom 13.
This is gonna suck.
Yep.
Oh no, I'm still okay.
Okay.
You still
Orson
pass.
fails. Orson failed.
Ekon and Evie are okay?
Yep.
What was this last?
So the third one's also going to howl and try to get the last two of you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we can get everybody incapacitated for the coming round.
What's the DC?
13.
Oh,
I
right.
got
I had
14.
Yeah. Sorry.
Evie's
yeah,
still
I got-
okay.
Do I have any blips? Because that's a natural one, and I don't think anything else can actually fail for me on it. No blips. I'm actually out.
You've got 2 blips as far as I can see.
Oh, can I re-roll that then for 2 blips?
Yeah, you sure can.
I must have. I will put it at 0. My accounting was wrong. Yeah, I haven't passed.
Edmont
was 12,
came
right?
in 13.
No, failed by 1. Rolled a 3.
All right. And Edmont came into this session with only 1 blip. So.
Yep.
So Evie, you're the only one not incapacitated by the 3 creatures.
Edmont spent blips and still failed?
He only had 2,
No.
so he re-rolled.
Okay.
Ekon did.
Edmont failed
I
the
had to
usual way.
roll a 4, and I rolled a 3.
Okay.
Evie, all of your family is frozen in terror, incapacitated by these creatures, which probably means, since you're the only one affected, they're all going to pounce on you on their next turn.
Oh, great.
Yeah. The good news is they can't swallow you whole. They're going to have to eat you the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, they're just gonna have to tear me apart the
So-
way, you know.
Because I know how Evie's gets upset when she gets swallowed whole by a monster.
Well, it has happened.
Who's next?
Genie with Ekon on deck.
So, Genie, your speed is halved, but you are incapacitated.
That means I can't take actions or reactions, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Well.
If we move out of range, does it go away, or how does that work? How do we break this?
You have no idea.
Okay.
And I just don't do anything.
Just stand there, gawking, afraid. Okay.
Yep.
Who's next?
Ekon. So
Okay.
can I take a bonus? Can I take a bonus action, or is it all action types? Because it says actions, but I think what they
I would
don't know
assume
action.
no bonus actions as well.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that they wrote that a little bit more loosey goosey than I actually want it to be. So, but I can't move though.
You know what? You got to remember too that I still have the first printing of this PHB. I would not be surprised to see one of the later printings spell out
Right.
no actions, bonus actions, or reactions.
That's why I've got actions in the SRD. So I don't know. Anyway, I'll move 15 feet back.
Okay.
That's the end of my turn. We've got Victor with Orson.
All Victor can do is move, so 5, 10,
Heading through the door.
15, yeah.
Okay.
So Victor is 50 feet away if it matters.
And then Orson.
Yep. We've got Edmont with Evie.
Looks like Edmont's making a. Looks like Edmont's provoking an attack of opportunity.
You don't have to move if you don't want to.
I don't really want to.
You can stay there. This sometimes fear forces you to move, but this fear doesn't.
Okay, no. All right. Yep, no, I'm good here.
Okay.
Do not want to provoke that attack of opportunity.
And then Evie.
Evie moves here. She casts Erupting Earth in this space. And all of this is now difficult terrain, and this creature needs to make a DC 16 saving throw.
Okay. That's
I
gonna be a
can't stop.
fail. That's an 11.
Okay, then he takes. I cannot roll 7 points of. This can go up to 36, but I rolled 7.
Okay.
7 points of magical bludgeoning. But all of this is difficult terrain. I can't stop them, but I can slow them down.
Is he knocked prone or anything?
No.
Okay. And that's it for Evie?
Yep.
All right, who's next?
Yellow token with Genie on deck.
All right, I'm going to eat Edmont first.
Probably if I'm frightened.
I glanced at his stat block, and the glare from my light caused the word 2 to be obscured. So I looked down and I read, the creature makes 10 rending bite attacks. And I was like, oh, that's fun. No, it's 2 rending bite attacks. Sorry to disappoint you, Edmont.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not rolling an advantage or anything.
Okay.
I could have if I had thought about this. No. I've got a 16 to hit
Yep.
and a 14 to hit.
Nope.
So 1 rending bites.
Your rent. If this were Final Fantasy Tactics, your armor would be destroyed.
Oh, it's worse than that
Ah.
because he's afraid right now.
Nerds to you.
The good news
I'm
is
not wearing armor.
6 points of piercing damage from the bite,
Sure.
26 points of psychic damage.
Oof.
That's not good news.
No, that's the
The,
bad news.
Good news at all. Ultra bloodied there.
The up-to-date text is actions or reaction.
Really?
Not bonus actions. Yep.
Yep.
Let's
I'm go-
check the.
I'm going to assume that bonus action are a type of action. I don't know. But no, it doesn't make sense to allow bonus actions if you're incapacitated. Because then you could, rogues could dash while incapacitated. Some people can make, weapon attacks. Yes, this thing's not attacking you, Edmont. It's feeding upon you, which is way worse.
Also, then, if you are unconscious, you could take bonus action.
So they do eat Eevee.
This is difficult
terrain. Yep.
Okay.
Bad news is these things probably have a lot of movement.
40, 45, 10, 20, 45.
I call hacks.
Oh no.
They're trying to get to Eevee, but she made it so they can't. So.
Thanks, Evie.
Oh no.
I've been wounded this entire time.
Edmont, it's about to get better. These are made at advantage because they also have pack tactics.
Oh god. What have I done?
If you're dead,
You killed Edmont.
Edmont, I have an 11 to hit
Nope.
and an 8 to hit.
Nope.
Edmont, I have a 22 to hit
That'll hit.
and a 15 to hit.
That hits too.
Okay. So 2 more rending bites.
What is your AC actually?
15.
Isn't it higher with your weeding a werewolf?
Don't you
Yep.
have? Don't you have a cloak of? Is that with the cloak of protection?
Yeah.
Edmont,
Oh, okay.
first bite.
That's a few.
5 points of piercing damage. 28 points of psychic damage.
Edmont's down.
Oh.
And so the second creature
2 failed death saves.